Yeah.
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 Yeah. Dr. Chris, good evening.
What's up? What is?
Nothing. Feeling very somber tonight.
Feel very somber.
Yeah, just not my usual. And you know, it's because I've done Time Machine tonight, Wrestle Votes tonight,
Yeah.
and on Time Machine we interviewed Hack Sandman.
Okay.
And this week I also interviewed Bill Alfonso
Okay.
and Todd Gordon, and all about the passing of our dear friend Sabu, who I actually met. He was probably a teenager when the original Sheik, who never broke kayfabe, introduced me to him. You know, even the Sheik's neighbors didn't even know he knew how to speak English. I had a very connection with Ernie Roth, Abdullah Farouk / the Grand Wizard. And he was able to let Sheik know I was okay. And Sheik introduced me to his nephew. And a young skinny kid there by the name of Rob Van Dam as well. I think it was under his real name at that Rob Sadkowski at that point. And so I go a long way back with Sabu. I saw him the final time at WrestleMania weekend at WrestleCon. And I said to him, I said, I know you had your final match last night. And he said, well, maybe not. Maybe not. They gave me a hug, kissed me on the cheek. We always had a great relationship. And that was it. And he said he'd give me a call and we'll talk. And now, had you ever had him on the show? On one of your shows?
Almost. He was supposed to be on Unscripted, and he agreed, and some things came up, and we never got to reschedule.
So
I've met him in person before, though.
The one thing that surprised me about him eventually, because he was his uncle, the Sheik, had, and again, for the fans that don't know, his uncle was not the Iron Sheik. He was the original Sheik, not the Iron Sheik. No relation at all. But he had told him, he instilled kayfabe in him, totally instilled kayfabe in him, And about 5 years ago, he started doing interviews, and I was one of his interviewers.
Nice.
And I said to him, what what's the thing with English? And he said, well, he's been taking these courses. So he kept it true to character. He was so There are so many indie guys that still try and imitate what he did in
Hmm.
the ring, going through tables, throwing fire, and just being a going off the balconies. He was such an innovator
Yeah.
of hardcore.
Hmm.
We had never seen anybody like him. He was an original because I
Hmm.
was at that ECW arena a lot, and when I was shooting pictures at ringside, I was scared that I was going to get hurt when he was in the ring.
Mm. Yeah. He was he was really an innovator of so many things. I mean, he just really had a he really found a niche, and
Yeah.
he really maximized on it. ECW was just a perfect place for him, as far as just really uh, growing popularity within the states. Of course, he wrestled other places before ECW. He wrestled for a while before
Oh,
ECW.
TWA, Joel Goodhart's Federation
Yeah.
in
Yep.
Philadelphia.
So yeah,
Japan. Yeah.
he definitely made his mark many places before ECW. ECW really gave him an opportunity to really start to carve his niche more. The Bill Alfonso addition
Oh,
to it with blowing the whistle, I mean, it was just really really cool. And I think there's an unsung hero in all this that a lot of people haven't acknowledged, and he's very popular. But I would add I think the Sabu popularity was multifaceted. It was the throwing the chairs to the ring. It was
mhm.
the original Chic reference. It was the point. It was the RVD tag team. It was the Bill Alfonso management. But I think one of the biggest things that really glued us all together was the commentary of Joey Styles. I think that was
Oh,
really,
yeah. You know what? You are
really, really important.
you are 1,000% correct.
Hmm.
Joey Styles, the oh my God man.
Hmm.
Yes, not
Yeah.
just for Sabu, but for everybody. But he
Oh,
was,
of course. Yeah.
it's similar to the way Jim Ross, Gordon Soley, and WWE announcers, broadcasters today help get people over. The excitement of the commentary when you know who you're talking about and where they're going with what they're doing makes it even. And also, besides Joey Styles, um, the ECW audience was such a large part of the show as well.
Yeah.
They made someone like a Sabu become even more daring and more of a daredevil
Hmm.
because they they screamed for what he wanted to do,
Yep.
and they
Yeah.
wanted to see more.
Yeah. And Joey Styles would call the way he called the moves when Sabu did it, the Arabian face buster and the triple jump moonsault.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. It was wonderful, man. And
I'm glad
it's
you brought
interesting
it up.
because the WCW transition, it wasn't as exciting. If I'm not mistaken, his one of his first matches, if not his first match, was against Das Wunderkind, Alex
Oh, yeah,
Wright.
Alex, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
WCW. Yeah, and this was back in '95, I believe, when he did his WCW run. And when he came to the WWE, it was interesting too because they had their reincarnation or their kind of revamping, so to speak, of ECW. And that
Yeah.
actually gave Sabu an opportunity to be showcased more on a WWE platform. And actually, his feud with John Cena and his feud with the Big Show
Yeah.
specifically was
Yeah.
actually that was one of his biggest moments to be showcased on WWE
It
television.
was, but he couldn't. But he couldn't do what he did in
Of
ECW.
course, yeah,
His stamp
yeah,
is ECW, no matter
yeah.
what he did
True,
or
of
where
course,
he went.
yeah,
But
of course.
that was his stamp.
But I do think his WWE, he grew so much notoriety going into his revamp ECW run and Big Show run. I think if I'm mistaken, they even had a SummerSlam match against each other, and I think that was good. And I think it was good for him not to be as extreme because it was just so much wear and tear on his body, man. You know what I mean? And I think that is really the
Oh,
downfall of a lot
yeah.
of that extreme, type of competition.
The thing though is that in WWE and WCW, his specialty was hardcore. So people
Yep.
that saw him in ECW thought the WWE and the WCW run was flat. No matter how good it might have been, it was flat. And I don't know
I think it
how
was safer for
comfortable.
him. I think
Yeah,
it was
but I
definitely
don't
safe.
think I don't know how comfortable he felt doing that. I think it
That's a
was
valid
something.
point.
What's
Yeah.
that?
I said that's a valid point for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that he did it because hey, why don't you go to WWE? Why don't you
Money's
go
better,
to
money's more secure.
yeah,
Yeah. In ECW.
yeah, but
Yeah.
definitely on the money end. Um, in terms of his body, the breakage of his
Yeah.
body, I
Mhm.
saw it so often at
Yep.
ECW. I'd go back to the dressing room and say, "My God, you're crazy." He says, "Was it good?"
Mm.
It was. He loved getting praise for busting his body up. It's
Mm.
the feud that he had with Terry Funk
Mhm.
was unbelievable. I always wondered why they didn't, his real name was Terry Brunk.
Mhm.
So I always wondered why they didn't bill it Brunk versus Funk. I would have loved that.
There you go. I'm sure you would have put that headlined on the mags.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
But my favorite feud of his, though, as good as the one with Sandman
Mm.
was, the feud he had against Taz
Yep.
to me.
Likewise.
They were perfect opponents. They were
Mhm.
absolutely perfect. And I mentioned this on Time Machine that I used to love to photograph his matches against Taz because you could never get the same picture twice because they didn't do the same thing. A lot of people, a lot of wrestlers do the same act over
Mm.
and over and over again. The flip over the rope, but you never knew what these two were going to do, and they never talked about it really in advance. They just kind of worked it out in the ring. It was a natural back
Mm.
and forth. I
That's
mean, that
cool.
must be such a great feeling to
Yeah.
have that done.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely.
Did you ever see the original Sheik wrestle?
I did watch some original Chic clips before
But
for sure. Absolutely. Yep.
you're
I've
too
seen-
young to have seen him wrestle.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got a lot of his matches, and there were so many gory matches. There was always that number 7 pencil going
Mm.
across the forehead of
Yeesh.
people.
Yikes.
Probably one of the most violent matches I ever saw. And unfortunately, I was involved in this. I was shooting pictures of the Sheik against Wild Bull Curry, Fred Curry's dad.
Mhm.
And Sheik had thrown fire at Curry. Curry went crazy. He looked down. I was the only photographer around the ring, and I had a full head of hair, and he pulled me up onto the ringside, and I
Mm.
was scared out of my mind. I was
Mm.
still a rookie at this point. All of a sudden, Tony Marino came out and rescued me.
Mm.
But the Sheik had incited the crowd to even make Bull Curry like a baby face for that match. And
Mm.
Curry was a great bad guy. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just kind of wrapping my arms around this thing is that you never know who's going next, so to say. Todd Gordon and I were talking about how small the ECW ECW package is now. So many
Yeah.
people are gone at
Hmm.
this point, and
Yeah. Yep. Yes,
no,
indeed. Yeah, our prayers go out to his family and friends, and our well wishes and thoughts as far as just consoling them in this tough time, and
oh sure, of course.
for sure,
Was there
absolutely.
an opponent that Sabu probably never wrestled that you would have liked to have seen him, like a modern day guy, like a modern day WWE guy? Because I would have loved to have seen him against some of the AAA guys that are coming in now, like a Ray Phoenix or a Penta.
Mm,
Um, I think that would have been terrific. I actually he would have had a great match against Ricochet. I don't think they ever wrestled each
mm.
other. I
Not
may
that
be
I,
wrong, but
no.
that would have been a hell of a match.
First person I thought of was Darby Allin.
Yes. Oh my God. Daredevil versus Daredevil.
Mhm.
Absolutely 100%. Okay, you're now the broadcaster. How does the match go?
Oh, we got it. I don't know. Or
Oh,
we
wait,
could do
wait,
Joey,
look.
bring Joey Styles. Oh my God!
I'll
There's
give us solely. Well,
there you
Sabu
go.
has gone through a table, and
Solely
Don
in
Allen is
Styles.
now up on the third balcony
There you
of the
go.
huge theater. He comes down indeed. Sabu
Indeed.
kicks out at 2.
Oh, we got a belly to belly suplex.
It's a
There's
slobber knocker.
there you go.
Who else do we remember? What are the broadcasters there? Joey Styles, he did. Um, Lloyd Pierce, I can't do an imitation of.
Uh, I don't
Oh,
uh
McMahon, Vince. Unquestionably, Sabu now on the table, and here comes Darby Allen.
there you go. Very nice. There you go.
Oh,
Dave Brown and
Lance Russell.
Lance Russell. Yes, yes, from
Yeah,
Continental. Yeah,
yeah, that
both
would
those.
have been a great
Yeah,
match
yeah,
there.
absolutely.
So,
There you go.
one of the other things to talk about, and I need been a long
Be-
night. I
Before
need
we transition, our apologies to the chat. We'll look over here. Someone saying no, still no super chat function. I think that what that means is that in order to qualify, there needs to be a lot of watched hours on the Wrestle Room. We're getting like we're almost at 5,000. We just started this channel.
yeah,
Almost
yeah,
at
yeah,
5,000 subs, man. So
yeah. It's
Bill
great.
Apter, you and I, man,
We
we're
are doing it to
we're
it, brother.
taking charge of this thing, man,
Yeah,
and bringing
yeah.
it up. So thank
We're
you so
doing
much.
it. We
This
do
is
it
the
to it.
live show of Wrestle Room, man. So
By the way, I just want to plug two things before we transition. I will
Mhm.
be in St. Louis, Missouri, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the
Nice.
SICW Wrestle Fest, and uh, Teddy Long's going to get a Legends Award, and I'm so
Wonderful.
proud to be there. But hopefully, a lot of you people that are watching this in the St. Louis area will come there, and see us. Yeah.
Mhm.
Teddy Long will be there. Mac Davis will be there. Jerry Lawler, Kevin Von Erich, Harley
Mm.
Race's son. There's going to be legends all over the place. Devon Dudley.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
action packed there, Bill Apter.
So it's going to be, another great week. So one of the other things I wanted to bring up now to see if this is something you think is going to succeed, go middle, or fail. Um, this whole thing that Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan are coming out with
Mhm.
this company with real amateur wrestlers, trying to make it like a UFC with
Mhm.
them in charge. And Eric said he's already working on getting um, exciting people about either streaming or possibly broadcast cable channels. Hulk Hogan said don't we don't want to make stars, brother. We want to make mega stars.
Mm. Very nice.
So this is something that I probably, with my interest level, probably won't be something that I'll run to see.
Mm.
I just don't have. I'm used to scripted professional wrestling. That's my love.
Yeah.
And they
Indeed, but
are too.
this is going to be unscripted though.
It's going to be unscripted. Ooh, lawyer, lawyer. Um,
How about that? Very nice.
we're here all night, folks. But I don't know if the endorsing of Hogan and Bischoff will mean tons of by this. I don't know. There's still a lot of Hogan haters out there. And he knows it. You know, he's talked online recently that the haters are going to hate him. What can he do? But there's a lot more people who don't hate him. But what is your interest level on a show like this? Because I think they are going to do make it storyline oriented, but the matches are going to be like UFC real.
I don't know. It's one of those things that's I think it's too early to tell right now as far as what it's going to do. It's really too hard to tell. The first thing that I think of is that it seemed like it may have the type of Josh Barnett type of blood sport feel to it. Barnett's Bloodsport is a very niche. It's interesting. You know, Karrion Kross was on there this past WrestleMania weekend. Natalya was there recently. Baron Corbin or Tom. Yeah.
What's his name?
Right. Yeah.
Tommy Corbin. We'll call
yeah, there you go. It's one of those things that there's been names. MVP was on there. You know, there's been names. There's been notable names on there, but it's.
But I don't think the Hogan Group's going to do that. I think they just want.
No, what I'm saying is, I do think it's going to have that type of Purisu Japanese type of feel to it coming to the States. I don't think that blood sport type of migration over to the United States. It's not really hitting.
No,
like as much. It is for a niche market, but using that type of model for a wider scale doesn't initially seem very highly successful to me. But at this point, like I said, it's too early to tell because we don't even really know what the format is. You know, because heck, could it be like a Raw Underground which flopped? You know what I mean? So we don't know what the format is right now. If it is going to be that Raw Underground type of format, that wouldn't be a good idea because the Raw Underground concept was abysmal and people, it didn't
work.
Yeah. So,
and they say, people smell blood and they come to it, but Bischoff smells money. So does Hulk.
I'm just wondering what's the pitch? You know, I mean, like as far as television deals, I mean, that's stuff that I'm interested in. Like, what's the pitch? To get a television
this
deal?
is real wrestling. This is real wrestling, and Hulk Hogan's endorsing it. So this is,
Yeah, but who's gonna, because he's had some failed projects. Didn't he try to do the micro championship wrestling, and that didn't really work out too well. So it's okay. But so it's a project
behind him in that. See, right now he's got Bischoff as a TV guy.
Yeah, Bischoff, I mean his production, Bischoff's production is excellent.
Yeah, but he knows the marketing too. He knows how to market this.
Yeah, but I will say this though, Bill. Like I to answer the question, I don't see how it could initially, launch off and be very, very successful if we've already seen different types of cuts or different types of variations of the same thing. I just don't like if it's like a Raw Underground or if it's like a blood sport. Blood sport it's niche and it's what it is because of what it is. You know what I mean? And that's
a lot of people don't even know it exists. I mean,
yes, and that's true. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I said, it's a niche product. There's only a select people who's really into the business that
Mhm.
support that. You know what I mean? It's kind of a branch. That's why they do a lot of GCW affiliated stuff. It's a branch of like the hardcore, but more of a shoot style,
Yeah,
still predetermined, but it's still shoot style wrestling.
right.
That's not really a big thing. You don't want to get to the point. Again, these are just possibilities here because we don't know what it's going to look like. You don't want to get to the point of like, is this like a scripted version of USC? We don't want to see that.
No, no, they've said this is going to be all real. And here's
I mean,
another
what does that even mean, though? I mean,
well,
them
here's
saying
another
it doesn't
tie-in.
mean that it's true, though.
Here's another tie-in. Hogan is it's probably licensed, but Hogan's going to be opening a restaurant right across the street from Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Hogan Scores restaurant, and I have a feeling that this restaurant and this company will be tying in, and this thing's going to have a, a real good marketing plan that will make it something that the fans will at least check out a couple of times before they decide whether they want to see this or not.
I think that hardcore wrestling fans are going to do that anyways. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I think regardless of the marketing, like the market, what makes it a bit difficult is this marketing going to bring in new, fans that don't even watch pro wrestling? You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I'm not sure if it will, because like what type of are you looking for, like freestyle wrestling community? You know what I mean? Are you trying to make this, to the market of the freestyle wrestling community? But if you like glamorize it, it kind of takes away, what I mean,
Yeah,
the
from
essence
that.
of that, you know what I mean? So
Well, here's the other issue. Okay, there's another issue now. Hogan has got a Legends deal with WWE,
yep,
also his beer company. He's
sponsor.
um,
Yeah,
he stamped on the mat
yep.
there. If they start going after for TV, cable TV, well, that's great. We can put you on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. Can you do that? Monday Night Raw is on at 8 o'clock on Netflix.
Yeah.
So what do
I,
we do
I
about that,
doubt
fans?
that it's even going to be live too.
Yeah, I don't
At
think
least,
so.
yeah, I think it's going to be just a bunch of tapings.
Before we leave, do we have any questions? Even though we don't have any super chats, do we have anyone sitting in the room here who wants to?
By the way, Sportskeeda, let me know what's going on, man. There's opportunities being missed. Let's just say that.
Yes, yes,
Let's
super
see
chat.
here. We have do you think Sami Zayn is a double agent? Will he betray CM Punk?
Good question. I
Okay.
love that thing about double agent. No, yes,
You think so?
yeah,
Okay.
because now he's got. I don't have a real reason, but he's got CM Punk kind of in the palm of his hand right now. So Paul Heyman made a deal with Sami Zayn. That'd be he's going to grow that group. Sami Zayn would be perfect in there.
You think
Why not?
so?
Yeah, why not?
That doesn't really draw my interest at all, man.
Next
But
question, please.
I can see that happening. It just doesn't
Sammy's
draw.
been the victim too many times. That's why I can see it happening.
Doesn't really bring a oomph to me that the group
Well,
needs.
you won't know it brings no oomph to me. The tag team match that's going to be at Saturday night's main event.
I agree with that.
I
Yep, I agree with
I'm
that.
hoping they're going to announce John Cena against R-Truth as the highlight match of that.
You
show.
know who would be a good third man option? I think
Who?
Bronson Reed.
Oh yeah, if he's ready to come back, of course.
Yeah,
I want to see a three-way with Bronson Reed, Jacob Fatu, and what's his name? Jeff Cobb.
Okay.
I want to see the three of them in the ring
Very nice. Very
together.
nice. Let's see here. We got there's one more question. Buzz. AJ Styles being grossly misused right now.
I think AJ Styles had all his glory. He's still terrific. He still works great in the ring, but there's no main event sizzle against anybody, in my opinion, at this point. I don't see a sizzle of him against someone for a main event position. Do you? Yeah.
I mean, grossly misused though. I mean,
No, I don't think so.
I wouldn't say grossly
No,
misused.
not at all.
The guys, uh, around the corner from 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's, he's had multiple world championships. Unfortunately, I think maybe the misuse could be argued as far as like perhaps good little hand status at this point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I mean, AJ Styles has earned his stripes. He's a Hall of Fame, type of guy. I think AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio are in the same boat to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Legendary figures who can run circles around people, can have an absolute clinic and make anybody look really, really good. I think both of them are in the same boat. And Rey Mysterio's a Hall of Famer. I think AJ Styles would be as well. I mean,
Rey Mysterio, I think we're going to see less and less in WWE and more helping out in AAA.
Yeah, I'm for it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he should be heavily involved in the AAA partnership. So, kudos for him, man. I always say, like, hey, I don't think Hall of Fame people, I don't think Hall of Famers should be competing after they're in the Hall of Fame. They don't do that anywhere else. You know what I mean? So,
speaking about Hall of Fame, on Wrestle Binge, probably started 2 minutes ago on the Wrestle Votes show that I do with Wrestle Votes and Joe Lowry. I'm announcing the pick for the first 2025 Bill Apter Legacy Award.
Come on, man. Let's go.
So you people jump over to that once we're done here. And you have your show right after this, too.
I do. I have Pancakes and Power Slams. I'm going to talk about the psychological effects of using kratom. So, kratom was the substance that caused a lot of controversy with the tweets and the GCW stuff.
Yeah,
and
I heard.
People were saying that that had something to do with it, and he allowed him to wrestle and all that. So, I'm not going to say, hey, I endorse whether he did or not. I'm not doing all that.
What you're going to talk about?
Power Slam class is Pancakes and Power Slam. So we're talking about every week. I do actual classes as a psychology professor. I'm going to talk about the psychological effects of using kratom. So we're going to have a fun class with that.
Good.
So, yeah.
I got to run, Dr. Chris.
Likewise, my brother. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Where can people find you on social media, Dr. Chris?
At Chris Prolific, right underneath my name right there. Yes, indeed. And hop over to as soon as we're off here, go to Pancakes and Power Slams, and we'll be doing that class, and we're having a great time, Bill. All right, my man.
Also, you can catch a replay of if you're not going over to Wrestle Binge right now, you can also catch a replay after Dr. Chris's show.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Right. Or you can do it in reverse. Either way.
Either way, man. This guy right here is Bill Apter.
Dr. Chris and Dr. Chris, would you do something with me, please?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.
Rest in peace, our friend.
Yes, indeed. So long.